Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you guys my Slack personal assistant AI agent. We're using Slack for this, where I just hop into my designated channel and I can converse back and forth with my AI agent, keeping conversations going within the threads. I'm going to show you guys how I have all of this configured right here and all of the different tools that we're using along the way. Remember, in make.com, the different tools that the AI agent is able to access, these are just different scenarios set to on demand right here. This AI agent is going to be able to draft emails, answer frequently asked questions, or just any question regarding my business. And then it's also going to be able to schedule calls and calendar events. So I was testing this out yesterday. Let's go ahead and take it for a spin. Starting off with a quick, easy one. Draft an email to Dylan asking if he's available for a quick call tomorrow, anytime between noon and 3 p.m. We'll go ahead and hit enter. Go back to our AI agent, which is going to kick off and do its thing, utilizing the draft emails tool that you see right here, as well as looking up Dylan's email address using this tool right here. And we should get a response right now in our same thread right here saying email drafted to Dylan asking about his availability, blah, blah, blah. Let's go check my inbox. And we can see in my drafts folder, I have the quick call availability tomorrow to Dylan, which is the proper email address, which is testclients_1@automatewhat.com. We can go ahead and double check that really quick. So we have Dylan, testclients1@automatewhat.com. Hi Dylan, are you available for a quick call tomorrow? Anytime between noon and 3 p.m. Let me know what time works best for you. Best, Mason. Let's try a longer one. So new message, what is Liam's email? It's gonna send that message to our AI agent and then get back to us with a response. So it just did. This is Liam's email. Let me know if you need any further assistance with contacting him. To which we'll reply with this in the same thread. So can you draft an email to him asking what dates he needs off for his upcoming vacation? Sending that off, again, it's gonna trigger our AI agent and then get back to us in the same thread right here. And we didn't need to specify the email again because it has access to the previous chat history. So it knows the context of what it's working with. So I've drafted an email to Liam asking for his upcoming vacation dates. Let's go take a look in our drafts inbox. And we can see right here our email to Liam, which is the correct email address. It even got the subject, vacation dates inquiry. Hi Liam, could you please let me know the dates you need off for your upcoming vacation? Thanks, best, Mason. And then in the same thread, I'm gonna ask, can you schedule a 15-minute call with him for next Wednesday at 10 a.m.? We'll go ahead and hit submit. And then I get hit with this response. So could you please confirm the date for next Wednesday, month and day, or should I check the next 30 days calendar context to identify it? I'll say, please take care of it. And we get the reply, 15-minute call with Liam is scheduled for next Wednesday, May 14th. And you can see we now have a call with Liam at 10 a.m. for 15 minutes. We even have the link to the Google Meet, and it also added Liam in the guests for the attendees. Now, normally our AI agent would not get back to us asking for confirmation for the date of what do you mean by next Wednesday, right? It probably just depends on better system prompting and maybe even a better model. So right now I'm currently using GPT 4.1 mini, I believe. So this is the configuration window for this AI agent, Slack personal assistant AI agent, and I'm using GPT 4.1 mini. So it's either an issue with GPT 4.1 mini, or it might be the case where I need to make my system prompt just a little more clear. Let me go ahead and just get into it with you guys. I'm gonna walk you through the entire setup, how I have everything configured. So I guess we're starting off with Slack. Go ahead if you want to follow along. Go ahead and create a separate channel in your Slack organization. I went ahead and called mine Auto Mason, which is just what I'm calling my personal assistant / all of my AI agents. Open up a blank scenario in make.com and you'll want to add this very first module. It's the Slack Watch New Events module. And this is how you have it configured. It's just a matter of connecting your Slack account to make.com. So go ahead and click add right here, give your webhook a name, and then select the event type. For mine, I'm using a new channel message. If this is a private channel, you want to go ahead and do that right there. Now you can go ahead and add this make AI agents, run an agent module right here, but we don't have our AI agent built out yet. To do that, what you'll want to do is go over here to the left-hand side in your make.com account. I believe make.com has rolled it out to most paid users by now when I'm making this in the beginning of May of 2025. So if not, it's only a matter of time. It's currently still in beta, but this is where you go to find all of your AI agents and build them out, or at least initially. So you can see right here, create an agent. What you'll need to do is you'll need to make your connection to your AI provider. So you can add that right here and connect it to any of these AI providers right here. I go with OpenAI. I already have that connection right there. So I just have that already configured. Give your agent a name, select which model you want to use with your AI provider right there. This is the brains behind your AI agent. And then go ahead. What I like to do is I can do ASDF, hit save, and then it'll take you to a window that looks like this. So the configuration window where I can then build out my system prompt better. I just like it having a bigger larger window to work with for the system prompt. So these AI agents have basically three things. Number one is the brain, which I just covered. If you want to go back and tweak your agent settings right here, you can go up to the top right-hand corner and modify the agent name or select a different model. You can also change these max output tokens, steps per agent call, and the maximum number of agent runs in thread history. So that's number one is the brains. Number two is the system prompt. These are the instructions for your AI agent. And I have this available for you guys. This is the perfect AI agent instructions format. It's a 7-step format for your system prompt. So number one is identity, give the agent a clear role. Number two is mission. 3 is behavior rules. 4 is the tools list and the usage rules for each of those tools. Number 5 is a step-by-step task flow, kind of like a checklist. Number 6 is edge case handling. And then number 7 is hard rules and don'ts. I'll have this available for you guys if you want to use it to come up with your system prompt. It makes your AI agents run a whole lot smoother. I'll have that available inside of the community. So come join us in the community if you want this or any other resources that I mentioned in this video. Using this format, I basically start off my system prompt within ChatGPT explaining my scenario, my situation for my AI agent, and what I want it to do just to get the bones of it. And then I copy and paste that over, whether it's into a Google Doc where I can continue editing or directly within ChatGPT with their new Canvas feature. I guess it's not so new anymore. Or I just go ahead and just copy and paste and start modifying it here as I go along. So that 7-step format is what I'm using right here. So you are a professional executive assistant AI that supports a small business automation consultant by handling communication, answering frequently asked questions, and scheduling calendar events efficiently, giving it the mission, giving the behavior rules right here, the tools list and usage rules. Again, this tools list right here. So get FAQs and knowledge base. You can see that right here, get FAQs and knowledge base. That's this tool down here, which is just this scenario right here, which is this 3-part automation. So grabbing my FAQs document and my knowledge base document within a Google Doc, and then outputting that in some scenario outputs right here that the AI agent can take and run with to answer questions or do whatever it needs to do. So I've got all that listed out right here. Again, we're back in the system prompt inside of the AI agent configuration window. So the next thing is the step-by-step task flow. Only follow the flows that the user specified is how I have it in parentheses. So answering questions, right? I have the kind of like a checklist right there. Drafting emails, follow this process. And then for scheduling calls and events in my calendar, follow this process right here. Edge case handling, this is what to do when things go wrong or weird. And then hard rules and don'ts, I'm just listing all of those out, such as when it's drafting emails, I hate when emails start off. It's so obvious when emails are written by AI when it's like, I hope you're doing well, or I hope this email finds you well. It's so stupid. No one uses that. No one talks like that. So I make sure to say never use this language or similar in draft emails. Once you have all this configured, you don't even need to add any system tools at this moment right here. Go ahead and hit save in the top right-hand corner. And then you can go back to your master scenario is what I'm gonna call it. And then you can add this module right here. It's just make AI agents, run an agent. You can click into this and then you can select from a drop-down list right here, that AI agent that you just created. So Slack PA AI agent -demo, we'll go ahead and select that. And then as for the system tools, if you already have tools that you added right here back in the configuration window right here, this is where those tools will show up right there. If you want any additional tools, right, you can add that directly for this specific scenario. For example, this AI agent can be used in multiple scenarios, right? Just as like a foundational AI agent. And then if you want to call upon this AI agent within this scenario right here, what you can do is if you need it to do an additional 1 or 2 things, you can add those additional tools right here, but it won't add it to the actual AI agent right here. It'll only be for that specific scenario. And same goes for the additional system instructions as well right there. As for the thread ID, this is the variable that we're mapping in. Honestly, it's one of these two. I'm pretty sure if I had to guess, it's probably the timestamp. That's what you're gonna want to use for the thread ID from Slack. But I just saw this on a video with another guy that built a very similar example, and he uses this if statement. So if this is empty, use this, right? And so I'm just doing that, and it seems to be handling it just fine. And then as for the message right here, I'm just adding one message and inserting the text that we get from the user that's sent over from Slack. And then we just hit save. The next module we want to add to this master scenario is this Slack create a message. So right here, I have this connection to a Slack bot that I'm calling AutoMason right here. So when you're adding a connection type, you can either select it to send an email or send a message back to you on Slack using one of your user profiles within your Slack organization, or you can select Slack bot. I went ahead and selected Slack bot, gave it a new name. Additional scopes, I don't think I needed to add any of those. Advanced settings, I didn't need to add any of those. You basically hit save and it walks you through the process. And this is how I have the rest of this module configured. So enter a channel ID or name. I'm selecting from the list. It's a public channel. The channel is called AutoMason. The text, what I'm doing is I'm sending, this is the response back to the person. So back in Slack right here, when I send right here, what is Liam's email, it's responding in this thread right here. And the very first message it gets back to me is Liam's email address is this right here. Let me know if you need further assistance with contacting him. So that's the message that you see right here, the text. So the response text from the AI of basically, hey, here's what I did, or hey, I need further clarification on what you're asking me before I continue with whatever it is you're asking me to do. So we're nesting in the response right there, response. Thread message ID, do not use, this was tripping me up for so long. Do not use the thread ID or the timestamp right here from the Slack module. You need to use the thread ID from the AI agent module. So go ahead and insert that right there, and then you're golden, and it'll be able to reference prior conversations within that thread for additional context if needed. All of these options right here, the yes, no options, I just left as default. And then the way that I'm getting this AutoMason response, so the robot emoji and AutoMason right there, the way that I'm getting that is I'm using Slack's emoji codes, I think is what they call them. So it just looks like this. You can just Google it if you want, or ask ChatGPT for some. If you want to use a specific emoji, be like, hey, what's the Slack emoji code for this emoji? And it should be able to spit it out for you. So for a robot, it's robot_face. And then the username, I'm just giving it AutoMason. And again, that's underneath advanced settings, so you need to toggle that on. Go ahead and hit save. Now, the last thing you need to do in this scenario is you need to set up a filter right here. So if you left this filter blank, what would happen is you would send a message, it would go through, do its thing, and then it would reply in this thread. And then that would trigger the automation again one more time, and then go through the loop infinitely, and you would burn out all of your operations. So you don't want to do that. The way to stop that is to set up this filter right here, and I just say is a user or is user, and then I'm saying if the bot ID variable does not exist, then pass on through the scenario because it's a user interacting with the AI agent. Otherwise, meaning if the bot ID does exist, it means that it was sent from the message that triggered it initially was sent from the bot module right here, right? So this guy right here, therefore stop at this filter right here and don't carry on. So in essence, every time I send a message in Slack right here, it costs me 4 operations for this master scenario. So 1, 2, 3, and then that triggers the scenario one more time because the bot response triggers that scenario, so 4 operations. And then make sure you always hit save. As for the tools, I've got 6 tools, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 tools I'm listing with their usage rules. So number 1, get FAQs and knowledge base, which is, again, remember, these are separate scenarios that you build out within Make, and then the agent can call upon these scenarios, execute them, and then pull information out of them. And I'll show you how to configure all of these tools. Listing all of the tools and their usage rules. And then lastly, once I have the scenarios or the tools created, then I'm going over here to add. And what that looks like is you can go through any of your folders, or you can just search for these scenarios that you just created. And when you're adding these guys, they have to have descriptions associated with them. So it'll probably prompt you. These already have, all of them have descriptions. So use this tool to get contents from my FAQs document for context to properly respond to my customers. That's for another demo. Send an email response to a customer who filled out a contact form, right? Basically just saying, I always, for the most part, preface these descriptions with use this tool to do blank. And then I just list it all out. And then of course, always hit save up here. Now, the very first tool that I'm adding is this get FAQs and knowledge base. So you want to open up a new blank scenario. And I started off by just adding a Google Doc get contents of a document module right here. And then I'm just mapping in the document ID right there. What that does, it goes and fetches the content of that document. And what I'm doing is I'm storing, or I'm basically outputting the content of that document into a scenario output. And in order to add this module right here, so the scenarios return an output module, you need to go down here to the bottom row of options and basically select scenario inputs and outputs, select scenario outputs right here, and then add your scenario output items or variables, I guess, if you will. So these are fields that will show up right here. So let me just discard changes. So in the scenarios return outputs module right here, any scenario output that I add right here will show up as a field right here that I can map a variable to. So I have AWFAQs and AWKbase, and I'm nesting in the content, the text content from both of these documents into their respective scenario outputs. So that's what they look like down here. You just add an item right there. And you give it a name, a quick description, and then I just leave that type as text, but you can select from a drop-down list what you want it to be. You can also do default values, toggle it on to required if you want, stuff like that. So go ahead and hit save, and that's basically how you create a lot of these tools, is with scenario inputs and scenario outputs. Sometimes you don't even need to use these scenario inputs and outputs. I'll show you in some other tools what I mean by that. So remember, when this AI agent is tasked with just, let's say, a question. So let me go ahead and just hit save and then back out of this. Let me hit save and back out of this so I can show you in real time what that looks like. So going back here to Slack, I can say, so I'll just hit it with what are Mason's business hours, right? Really, really simple. This would be a use case for if you want to build out an AI agent as like an internal tool for your employees or your team to just communicate with and stay within Slack to get information, right, about your business or policies or processes, stuff like that. That would be a really good use case. So it got back to me with Mason's business hours are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. What happened was it hit the AI agent, and this AI agent determined that it needed to call upon and execute this get FAQs and knowledge base tool or this scenario. And then in the output, you can see right here, it nested the FAQs inside of the FAQs scenario output and the knowledge base document contents inside of that scenario output as well, which the AI agent, right, it spits it back out to this AI agent to determine how to handle that information, if that makes sense. And it got back to us with an answer. Now, building this out right now, this is just one way of doing it. I was talking to Make.com support last week, and before they had a fourth section, or I guess a third section right here in between system prompt and system tools called context, where you could upload your own documents and knowledge-based documents, whatever you wanted, for context for this AI agent. And I believe that it automatically just vectorizes everything for you. So it's really handy. It chunks it up already for you so that the AI agent is even more efficient and using less tokens. Now, don't quote me on that, but that's what I believe, or at least that part of it. The context section is coming back. They told me within the next few weeks it should be back, but seeing that it's still in beta, honestly, I'm not counting on it. It's probably going to be a little bit longer. So just so you know, if you're watching this video, when I'm making this as of May 9th of 2025, that is the case with these AI agents. But in the future, when that does become mainstream, that context window section right there, you can just upload the documents right there. It makes it more efficient, and you don't even need to have a tool such as this to call upon and get contents from like a Google document per se. The next tool that I built out is this get contacts. So the contact sheet right here, which is just hitting up this sheet right here. This could be your CRM, it could be your Airtable, it could be whatever. And I just have everything listed within this sheet right here. So all contacts. So it's my team, my leads, my clients, my partners. And then I'm aggregating all of that in real time using a function somehow. This guy right here, this function. If you guys want this Google Sheet template, I'll have it available in the communities. Basically, anytime I add someone into the clients or the partners, it automatically populates in the all contacts sheet. So it's hitting up this sheet right here and grabbing all of those rows right here whenever column B, I believe, is existent. Whenever column B exists, it's grabbing those rows. So back here to this tool, that's what I'm doing. I have it configured to watch that spreadsheet ID. The sheet name is all contacts. Column range A through Z. Filter is whenever the B column, which is the email column, exists, grab those rows, grab those records, if you will. And then I'm aggregating that using a text aggregator right here. So I'm saying name and email, return with a row separator such as new row. What that looks like, let me hit save. What that looks like, it looks like this. So it's grabbing 1, 2, 3, 10 bundles because we have 10 people in my all contacts list right here. And then we're aggregating all of those bundles. So sorry, all of these bundles into one long string of text that looks like this right there. And then again, I'm using a scenario output that I added down here, scenario output, contacts list right there, list of all my contacts with their name and email addresses, leaving everything else the same. And what that does is I'm able to nest the aggregated text, that long string that we just created, into this field right here. So, which is just this guy right here. I'm nesting all of this that you see right there inside of this right here. And what that looks like is basically just this all over again. But the AI agent can take literally this highlighted text that you see right here and run with that and determine, Mason wants to send an email to Ethan, right? Let me look through the contacts list and see if Ethan exists. If he doesn't exist, then I can hit back Mason with, hey, doesn't look like Ethan is in your contacts list or whatever. Can you give me his email? Or, yeah, here's Ethan. I found Ethan. Here's his email. Okay, I went ahead and drafted an email. Get back to Mason saying I drafted an email. Again, making sure that these scenarios are always on demand. So by default, they're going to be at regular intervals every 15 minutes, I believe. You need to make sure that they're on demand, hit save, and then save again so that the AI agent can actually execute these tools right here. One thing to note, when you're naming these tools, I believe you can't use any special characters. So I think you can use underscores and dashes, and I think it needs to be within a certain character limit. So just one thing to note, if you're running into issues in the future as you're building out your tools for the AI agents, that could be a possible problem with your name. So just be sure you're being careful with that. The next tool is just one module, which is draft an email, right? Or I'm calling it draft email. It's the Gmail draft and email module, and this is how I have it configured. Now, I have it connected to my email account. I'm selecting the folder as drafts, and then these variables that you see right here, they're kind of like a light blue color. You can find them in the custom and system variables tab right here. So, and you can only view these when you go, again, you guessed it, down to the scenario inputs and outputs, and add those items right here. So this case, we want scenario inputs first. So I'm adding these three right here. So email address for who it's addressed to, email subject, and then email content. Now, I'm giving them very self-explanatory descriptions. So the email address to send the email to, email subject is the subject for the email, and email content is the content of the email body. And then I'm just hitting save. Now, you won't be able to, once you hit save, you're gonna need to save the entire scenario, hit refresh on your entire scenario, and then, I don't know why Make does this, but that's just what you have to do. Click back into your scenario, click into the fields right here, go over to custom and system variables, and then they'll show up for you. And you can map any of these variables into their respective fields right there. Go ahead and hit save one more time, make sure it's on demand, and that tool is good to go. Now, the cool thing about these tools is you can use these tools in multiple scenarios with multiple AI agents, right? So what I mean by that is the way that I organize it, so it's easy for me to find and use these tools with other AI agents in the future, is I have it structured in this way. So I created a folder called AI Agent Tools. In this case, I do -demo. And then any AI agent tool that I'm creating from here on out, for my demos at least, I'm going ahead and organizing it within this folder so it's easy for me to just add them. So that's it for drafting emails and answering FAQs, right? Now we're getting into a little bit more of complex tools, which is scheduling calls and calendar events right here. And I'm gonna show you guys, I think I have 3 tools to do this, and I'll explain why I have 3 tools. So the 3 tools are, first, checking my calendar availability. So I've got 2 calendars that I need to check and cross-reference to see, when my busy schedule is so that the AI agent can see when I'm free, basically. And it'll get back to me saying, something like if I want to schedule something for tomorrow at 10 a.m., but I'm busy, it'll get back to me and saying, looks like you're busy from 10 a.m. to noon tomorrow. Do you want me to suggest any other times? And if I want it to, it can go do its thing, or I can just be like, yeah, go ahead and book it over those busy times anyway. So I've got calendar availability. I have the next 30 days context window. Or I guess I'm calling it next 30 days calendar context. And the reason why I have this tool is because sometimes when I'm going to ChatGPT, what happens is sometimes with ChatGPT or these large language models, without access to the internet, it gets the days and calendar dates, I guess, if you will, mixed up and wrong sometimes. So for example, it's probably gonna work. Most of the time it does work, but sometimes I have seen it fail where a simple, without searching the internet, what day is tomorrow, we'll hit send and it'll get back to me saying tomorrow is Saturday, May 10th, 2025, which is correct. Now, sometimes it'll mess up and say something like tomorrow is Saturday, May 9th, which is wrong because today is May 9th. I have seen it happen. So because of that, I just have this tool to give it the context. So if we say run once right here, this is what it looks like. So I'm using the set multiple variables module right here, where I'm saying day_0 or d_0, which is today. And then I'm using this simple format date equation or function saying now, and then this is the format that I want it in. That's what it looks like right there. This is what the output looks like, 2025-05-09 Friday. And then d_1 looks like this, 2025-05-10 Saturday. Just to give the AI agent context and make sure that it's not messing up when I say, hey, book a call for next Wednesday. It can hit up the 30 days calendar context right here and determine that, okay, D0, that's today, and then which means that next Wednesday is this right here, right? And I'm outputting the scenario output like this. So we can see it looks like this. This is what the AI agent is going to be able to see and determine, logic. Today, and then I'm mapping in D_0. Tomorrow, and then I'm mapping in D_1. And then the next 29 days, I'm just mapping in all of the remainder variables that I created. So again, if I say, hey, book a call for next Thursday, it knows that today is this, and next Thursday must be 5:15. Let's go ahead and execute the schedule event tool and book in for that date. And then back here to the set multiple variables module, the way that I have it configured, or the 2 functions I'm using for D1, D2, D3, is the format date, and then within format date, I'm nesting the add days function, nesting in the now variable, ;1. So 1 day from now, right? And then again, using the same format. And then right here for D2 is 2 days from now, right? And so on and so forth. Again, setting that to on demand and hitting save. The last tool that we're using for our AI agent is this schedule event tool, which is just a simple Google Calendar create an event module. Let me come back to this really quick though. We'll touch on this last. I want to show you how I have this configured right here, this calendar availability tool. So I'm using the Google Calendar get free/busy information, and this is how I have it configured. So I made my connection already to the Google Calendar API. And then as for the minimum time and maximum time, I believe this is start and end times. What I'm doing for the scenario inputs, this is what that looks like, because remember, if it looks like this color, that's because it's a custom and system variable or an input variable that we have right here. So scenario inputs and outputs, you can see for the start time, that's what I'm naming it. And then the description right here. So the description is the start of the time range to check for calendar availability must be in ISO 8601 format example, and then I'm giving it an example. Always set the start time for 1 a.m. America Denver time. So that's the start time of that date that I want. So if I'm saying to my AI agent in Slack saying, hey, book a call for next Wednesday at 10 a.m., right? What's going to happen is it's going to execute this scenario, and the AI agent is going to create the scenario inputs and for that specific date on Wednesday, but it's going to set the date or the time to 1 a.m. because I want to check my availability from 1 a.m. to 11 p.m. and I want to get all of my events in between those two times. So down here, you can probably already guess it. It's almost the exact same. It's just end time. And then the description is the end of the time range to check for calendar availability. Again, it needs to be in ISO 8601 format, which looks like this, for example. Always set the end time for 11 p.m. America Denver time. And I can go ahead and delete. There we go. So America Denver time. And these, although they are date types, right? These are date fields. I was running into issues when I had the type set to date. But I wasn't seeing any issues and it was running flawlessly when I changed it back to text. Don't ask me why that is. It just works that way. So I went ahead and hit save, and I went ahead and mapped in those two scenario inputs right there. And then I just added the two calendars that I want to watch from. Now, when I run this module, this is what the outputs look like. This took me quite a bit to figure out, but the calendars, it'll show up like this for the outputs. So for each calendar that you watch, hopefully it's just one, but if it's multiple, this is how you go about it. It gives you the busy array. I guess even if it's just one calendar, it's essentially the same thing. It will always give you the busy array. So I guess I'm free for this time. And I'm also free for that time. So between May 11th, 7 p.m. and May 12th, 4 a.m. Those are just random times I threw in. Of course, I don't have anything going on because it's the middle of the night basically. But what basically happens is I need to iterate over each calendar's busy array. So for the first one, mason@automatewhat.com, I'm nesting in that busy array. So this guy right here, this busy array, I'm nesting in first to iterate over all of the events, which are going to be in a collection list, basically, if I have any events scheduled that I'm busy. So in fact, let me just show you in real time. Let me hit save. Let me go back and I'm gonna actually push through some real data. Let's take a look at next Wednesday. So I've got two things. I have a live build with me and then a call with Liam at 10 a.m. So let's go ahead and just execute this really quick. I'll say, what does my schedule look like for next Wednesday? That's not a practical use case for these AI agents because in all reality, that just takes more time than if I were to just log in directly to my Google Calendar and look for myself, right? Just keep that in mind. Some tasks, you don't need an AI agent and it actually is counterproductive. So it looks like your schedule for next Wednesday includes the following: 10 a.m. to 10:15 and 6 p.m. to 7. We can go back to this guy right here and we can take a look at the history right there, which is what I just ran. And okay, so I'm gonna show you guys this. So we're iterating over the busy, right? The busy array for that first calendar. And I have two events. This one's for Liam and this one's that live build with me session. So you can see it's separated into two bundles. What I'm doing is I'm aggregating that using a text aggregator that looks like this. I'll show you in just a sec how I have that configured, but the output of that looks like this. So start May 14th, 2025, 10 a.m. and 10:15 a.m. Start 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. These are basically busy windows just chunked up and easier for the AI to understand, because what happens is I'm taking this aggregated text variable and I'm mapping that into the busy times scenario output like this, and that's what that looks like. Mason's busy times, and then I'm mapping and everything. So I guess I didn't have anything for my second calendar. Let me go back to the diagram and show you how I have everything configured though. So again, iterator, I'm iterating over my first calendar busy array, and then I'm aggregating it like this. So with a new row separator, and this is what I'm doing for the start, and then I'm using the format date function right there and inserting the start variable that will appear from this iterator module. And then I'm doing the exact same thing with the end time as well, hitting save. Now I'm doing that again. I'm iterating this time over my next calendar. So mason@digitalhiveworks.com, I'm iterating over that busy array, doing the exact same thing inside of the text aggregator module. And then I am nesting inside. So I created the scenario outputs, busy times name, or that variable. So all busy time slots with their start and end times. The type is just text. That way I can actually, this will show up inside of this return output scenarios module. And this is how I have that configured. I'm just mapping in the text variables from those text aggregators. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. It took me a little while to figure this out, but that's how I go about it. Hit save. Now the last tool that I'm using is the Google Calendar create an event, and I'll show you how I have that configured. So let me go ahead and open this up. I went ahead and made my connection already. The calendar ID that I want to create my events for is always within my Mason at Automate What. It's my primary calendar. And then the event name, I have all of these scenario inputs that I created down here in this scenario inputs and outputs. So for any one of those fields that I wanted to use, I wanted whenever I'm creating, whether it's either a call or just an event, right? So a time slot, or if it's an actual call, then I want to tag the Google Meet. So add Google Meet video conferencing. I'm saying that's either true or false, right? If it's a call that I'm specifying, hey, book a call with Liam for next Wednesday, then it knows to make this scenario, the AI agent knows to make this scenario input as true. Or if it's just like, hey, book an event with Bob for tomorrow for lunch at noon for 1 hour, right? It will set this to false. The way that I have my scenario inputs set up is like this. So event name, this is the name of the event being booked in the calendar, really self-explanatory. The start date looks like this. The date and time of the event being scheduled in ISO 8601 format. And then I have this structure that I want it to follow strictly. And again, the type I'm just saying as text, because when I changed it to date, it was running into issues. Duration, this is how I have that format. Duration of the event being scheduled. So HHMM format, that looks just like that. Description is really self-explanatory. Attendee name, again, self-explanatory. Attendee email, and then conference call is what I'm calling this scenario input for that Google Meet, and it's either true or false. So I'm saying set this value to double curly braces true if the scheduled event is for a call, or within double curly braces false if it's just a general event. Now, I don't know if I actually need to do this. I just do that to be safe, because when we're saying this right here, this conference call, I'm going to delete this. When I toggle this off and then turn it back on for no, you can see that it's false, right? Now, if we do that, if we just type in false in plain text, I'm not sure. Maybe it would perform the same. I don't know, but I'd rather be on the safe end. To get this false operator, or I don't even know what they call this. In general functions, you can select these keywords, so true or false. I think it needs to be this way. You can just do double curly brace, false, double curly brace, and it'll turn into that specific keyword. Not sure. I have ran into scenarios where it does break your scenario if you don't properly use these. So again, just better on the safe side. And yeah, let me reset that to, what was it? Conference call, like that. So once I have all of those created for the scenario inputs, I don't have any scenario outputs for this. They're just inputs. I went ahead and mapped them into their respective fields right here. So if you want multiple attendees, you can just create different scenario inputs. So you could do attendee name 1, attendee email 1, attendee name 2, attendee email 2. And then in your system prompt for your AI agent, let me go ahead and hit save on both of these. And then in your system prompt for your AI agent, right, you would just want to specify if there are multiple attendees for booking these calls, make sure to add every single person that the user specifies. So, hey, book a call for tomorrow with Liam and George, right? It'll be sure to add both of those guys. That's basically it for my tools. That's how I have it configured, which is basically, I think I covered basically everything, how I have everything configured for this scenario right here. Let me just double check. Yeah. So make sure, one thing to know, I can't stress this enough, it needs to be set to the tools that you want your AI agent to use. They need to be set to on demand. Be careful with the naming conventions right here. That can break your scenario and I think you'll get like some error message if that's the case. Yeah, once you have all of those scenarios created, just go back here to your AI agent configuration window. You can find that again by just selecting AI agents on the left-hand side, or you can go back to your master scenario and then click into your run an agent module and then click on configuration right here. Make sure that your agent is selected right there and then click configuration. It'll take you to the configuration screen right here. Boom. And then you can add all of those scenarios or those tools that you just created as system tools that this AI agent can call upon to execute. And remember, as you're adding these, so you just click add, as you're adding these, right, you'll get hit with this scenario description required. You'll need to add a description right here. And this helps your agent understand the scenario's purpose and when to use it. So they require this, give it a really good, just 1 sentence, maybe 2 sentence description, and you're good to go. Now, OpenAI came out with this like 3 weeks ago. It's a practical guide to building AI agents. It's a 34-page document. I read through the entire thing, and I actually quizzed myself on it. I had ChatGPT give me a quiz to quiz me on all the stuff. It's actually really fun. And it's a new way that I like to use ChatGPT to kind of quiz me on stuff and make sure I know what I'm talking about with new concepts or really anything. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. One thing that stuck out to me from this, one of the principles that I think is really valuable, is when you're building out your AI agents for the first time, you want to start off with a more than capable model for your AI agent's use case and its purpose, right? So for this use case, I would not start out with GPT 4.1 mini or even GPT 4.1 nano. Although they're cheaper models, that means that they're not as capable for more and more complex tasks. Basically what I'm saying is the principle that stood out to me, one of the principles that stood out to me most from this guide is always start off with a more than capable model. So GPT 4.1, build it out, test it a bit, and then once you have everything configured properly and working, scale it back to a cheaper model and see if you get the same results that are consistent without sacrificing on quality. So that's what I did. I tested it out with GPT 4.1. It was great. And then I scaled it back to GPT 4.1 mini. I did notice a little bit of a difference where sometimes it'll get back to me with clarification, kind of like it did in the beginning of this video when I said, hey, what's Liam's email, blah, blah, blah. Can you schedule a 15-minute call with him for next Wednesday at 10 a.m.? And then it got back to me saying, could you please confirm the date for next Wednesday? Or should I check this, right? I want this to be as quick and efficient and just know what I want accomplished without hitting me with follow-up questions, right? GPT 4.1 was not doing this for me. When I changed it to GPT 4.1 mini, I get hit with some of these follow-up clarification messages. So it's up to you. At that point, they both perform the same and get the job done. One might be more efficient, but at a more expensive cost. So up to you. You'll just need to crunch the numbers basically. And what I mean by that, when crunching numbers, you can actually go to, let's go to one of the executions for this AI agent. And one of the outputs is this token usage summary. So this is the total amount of tokens that were used to accomplish that scenario run, right? So in this case, it was 6,027. And then you can even take it a step further because input tokens and output tokens are priced differently. For GPT 4.1, I believe, what is it? I believe it's $2 per 1 million token input tokens and $8 per 1 million output tokens. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Honestly, I don't know why I'm trying to quote it off the top of my head. I can just go to OpenAI API pricing and look at it right here. So yeah, GPT 4.1 is $2 per 1 million and $8 per 1 million output. You can change that to 1,000, right? And just move the decimal 3 places to the left. And that's what the price is for 1,000 tokens. OpenAI used to have a checkbox right here somewhere where you could check it on and it would change the pricing to per 1,000 tokens, which is honestly so useful. I don't know why they took it away, but yeah. Back to the history for one of these executions for these AI agents. You can go to the token usage details right here. And if you really wanted to, if you want to track these things in a spreadsheet, maybe that might be of benefit to you. It's just to make sure you're keeping tabs on your AI token usage and, maybe set thresholds to whenever this number exceeds a certain amount in one day, send me a notification saying, hey, your AI agent is consuming a lot of tokens. Maybe take a look at it and see if you need to modify it or bump it down to a cheaper model or just use it less. I don't know. Just throwing out some ideas here, but you can see the completion tokens and the prompt tokens. Prompt tokens are input tokens. The completion tokens, I believe, are output tokens. So for this execution, it took 3 steps. We have input tokens right here. You can add all of those up. That should be 246, just under 6,000. And then for the output tokens, we've got 15 plus 44 plus 74. So probably 150-ish tokens. I'll be sure to include all of these blueprints with these tools and everything right here. I'll be sure to include those in the resources inside of the community. So if you guys want a faster way to get similar results and build it out on your own Make organization, just know that I have those blueprint files over there for you. I don't know if the AI agent, when I export this, I don't think that my actual AI agent that I have configured right here will carry over with that. In fact, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. So for that purpose, I went ahead and just copied this entire thing for my entire system prompt, and I put it inside of a document. I don't know where it is, but I put it in a Google Doc, and I'll make sure to include that in the resource files as well. This was overall a really fun build, and I'm starting to get the hang of how Make AI agents operate. So in the coming months, I'll be building out more and more of these. In the next month or so, maybe I'll have this same AI agent, but with RAG capabilities, using a tool or a database like Supabase, probably. So be sure to stay tuned for that. If you guys like this kind of content, go ahead and give me a follow if you haven't already, because I've got tons of content for you guys. Full breakdown videos such as this one, or just really quick videos going over, certain concepts with make.com, how to use certain functions, certain features within make.com. And on top of that, I also have other content for Airtable. I'm getting into voice flow for creating chatbots and voice bots as well. So check out my page for more content like that. Thanks, guys.